Welcome to the RSI Trade of the Day. My name is Benjamin Poole, head trader here at Verified Investing. Thank you guys so much for joining me at 9:45 this morning. All right, so our trade of the day yesterday, Hood never got up to $120 for a pullback. Unfortunately, we were not able to get filled. That was only about a 2% move to the upside. I did have a decent sell-off early in the morning, got below 114,000, and then throughout the rest of the day, slowly floated to the upside. $120 is no longer on the table for me. I wouldn't touch Robinhood until 125 or even 130 because now I'm getting some sideways consolidation on the daily time frame, and the relative strength index isn't above 70. It doesn't have quite the whippiness that it used to. So markets are kind of settling in and could potentially move this thing higher. So let's go ahead and just go over the RSI recap. So here's the chart of Robinhood. I'm going to go ahead and go back to this screen. So Robinhood put in a little bit of consolidation here. Never got to our $120 level for us to enter this trade. The relative strength index, I would like to pierce 70. If RSI can pierce 70, that's where I would start initiating a short. Now you've also got this upswing trend line. You connect this pivot high from $50, another pivot high from $111, and you stretch this out. This is where Robinhood could now go if the relative strength index keeps pushing higher. As you can see, the RSI can get all the way up to about 80 on Robinhood. So could even go up to $145, $150, depending on when it hits this relative strength index, or upswing trend line. So here's what I was noticing on the intraday relative strength index. So you had this pop and then this drop throughout the rest of the day. Never really got below the 30. Price action, good consolidation at the low ends. And then all of a sudden you caught this nice bid. And then markets continued higher. Robinhood continued higher. And then towards the end of the day, put in this nice bullish consolidation before another move to the upside. Now it's up to $119.76. This is indicating that Robinhood is going to go higher. So again, I wouldn't touch this until about $125 because it's so close to $120 right now. That would be off of the radar for me. All right, Google is another one that I was talking about. And I mentioned that $220 or $235, $240 is off the table for me. Now, look at this though. Relative strength index on the daily time frame for Google is so overly extended. Now, that doesn't happen very often on Google. It did have this negative RSI divergence. However, the price action and some good news from the European Union pushed us a little bit higher. Look at what I've noticed though. You've got this nice kind of hidden trend line. So you connect this pivot low right here at $50, another pivot at $70. And then finally, price action got below it at $130. So once price action gets back to that upswing trend line, it is likely to get rejected. So I wouldn't touch this now until about $255, $256. That is where Google is likely to head to, even with the relative strength index staying as high as it is. Now, if you're thinking about doing a swing trade, starting now could be an option. If you're trying to short this thing, I wouldn't go long this based on the fact that the relative strength index is so high. But if you're shorting this on a swing trading basis, just know that you might have to add to it about $15 higher. So I would stay a little bit more conservative with this trade, just because if the rest of the markets continue higher, Google could continue higher as well. All right, now let's go into core and main. C&M dropped significantly yesterday, had this nice fall, decent bounce. Look at the relative strength index. It did head higher, never really crossed the 70. As price action headed lower, the relative strength index headed lower as well. And then finally, we got this one little pierce above 70, but look at price action. It's still at the lower ends of the charts. So for me, C&M, core and main, is likely to head even lower based on the fact that the relative strength index stayed as low as it did, and the price action was continuing to creep lower. So let's go ahead and just go to the the daily time frame on C&M. Core and main is down to 20 on the relative strength index. So what are we looking for here? Now we're looking for some support levels. So the first support level that I have on CNM is 48.07. So you've got this really minor gap fill. So what happened was price ended up closing at $48.07. And then you had a gap up and it opened up at 48.66. So it's not a huge gap in this chart. So when price action gets in there, it is still likely to bounce. However, this would not necessarily be a swing trade for me. I would wait for more confirmation or a bottoming tail, positive RSI divergence, something that would indicate that now price action has kind of shifted. If you wanted to be a little bit, if you wanted to swing trade this, another level is 46.87, just knowing that there's additional support levels a little bit lower. I like this green bar low. So basically a pierce of $45 or $44 would be where I would swing trade this for a long position. You are getting a little bit more volatility in this price action of CNM. So I still think that the relative strength index is a good indicator of the direction of the stock. So it is likely to bounce here soon. I'm just not 100% sure where it is. So that's why I have these support levels: 48.07, 46.87, and then a pierce of 43. So start your swing trade position there. Add to it if you need to. Add a pierce of 44. All right, Albemarle. Albemarle has been a stronger stock on the day, and so I often like to look at where the midlines are. So what I'm doing is saying, all right, well, the relative strength index is below 40. As we've seen on ALB, price action is really, really consistent with the relative strength index below the 30. Actually, this one got down to 17. Get this nice bounce above the 70, gets a little bit of a pullback. Now it's turning down a little bit. It's based on it's basically below the 50. So for me, ALB is a great opportunity for a potential swing trade if it gets into this gap fill right at $70.06. This is a pretty big gap fill, and the relative strength index is still on the stronger side. This is still more of a momentum stock, and so I see further upside in this. So I wouldn't necessarily have to wait for a pierce of the 30 on a stock like ALB. All right, so that's what I have for you guys. Now I'm going to talk about Lyft. Lyft has been moving higher the last couple days. I'm going to go ahead and go over what I see in the charts, and that is going to be our trade today. So let's go ahead and get to that. So I have two different stock charts that I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you the intraday and what happened in the last few days. And then I'm going to show you why I'm choosing my trade of the day on Lyft and where that level's at. All right. So the 8th of September, the relative strength index stayed really, really high on the Lyft charts. It got up to 93, pulled back, barely pierced the 30, but look at price action. It didn't continue to head lower. And then the relative strength index headed higher. Price action sideways consolidation. Nice bull flag. Relative strength index did drop again below the 30, but if you notice, price action didn't follow along with what was going on with the relative strength index. So this indicates to me that there is a potential pop in Lyft, and that's what happened yesterday. Yesterday, we had it open slightly higher on the relative strength index, slightly above 70, not a huge move higher. But then look what happened. Price action just continued to float a little bit higher and higher throughout the rest of the day, staying really strong. The relative strength index also stayed relatively strong, meaning that it never got below the 30, never stayed there, and had price action continually show the direction of the Lyft charts. So here's what I'm going to do. Now I'm going to the daily time frame, because you always want to, if you're using the intraday, you always want to go and look at what the daily time frame is showing you as far as resistance goes. So the next level of resistance for me on Lyft, based on the fact that it's overly extended on two intraday charts, $19.07 is where some strong resistance is. However, that is still not close enough for me. I mean, it's not far enough away for me to be interested in my trade of the day. And let me explain why. So you had this, basically this topping tail right here on the Lyft charts, where you had a move right up to about $18.26. Look at this pullback. So you had about a 7 to 8% pullback when it got close to that level. So that level has now been negated. So 1907 is no longer on the table for me. I need a little bit further of an extension for me to enter this trade. So my trade of the day is 1944. So shorting Lyft at $19.44 is my target, or my trade of the day. It corresponds with this minor level right here. So if it does continue higher than that, I'm going to stop out on a 15-minute closing basis at a close above our entry price, knowing that it could go up to $20.82. And that is where the next resistance level is. More aggressive traders, if you want to start at 1907 and then add, that's fine too. But again, my short of the day is Lyft, $19.44. And I would be looking for about a 2 to 4% pullback on this trade. So that's what I have for you guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you guys so much for watching and participating with me. I'm going live every morning at 8:45 when the market is open. Please make sure you like, follow, subscribe, ring that bell so you can get notified of all this content. And please stay tuned. Gareth Soloway is going to cover everything that's going on in the markets. There's so much euphoria. We have a couple, like Oracle trade is just continuing to rip, or the stock is continuing to rip. He's got more information for you guys on that. Please stay tuned in less than 4 minutes. And we'll see you guys next time in the charts. You guys have a great day and take care.